Welcome back to our channel where we provide updates and undisclosed narratives on Catherine, Princess of Wales and her royal family. We provide you with the exciting news: King Charles and William refuse to forgive Meghan Harry Sparks' new palace. An intimate source asserts that King Charles is very troubled by Prince Harry's stipulation of reuniting with Meghan Markle as a prerequisite for his return to the UK. This edict from Prince Harry is reportedly provoking significant ire among King Charles and William. An informant said that King Charles and Prince William expressed they would not forget Meghan's activities concerning the royal family. This dilemma once again destabilizes the royal family as Prince Harry articulates his intention to return to the UK with his family after the decline of matters with his and his wife's company in the UK and the Trump administration's mandate on residence cards. The concept of reconciliation entails embracing a more solemn perspective. King Charles was taken aback by Prince Harry's desire to meet Meghan Markle about a return to the UK, as reported by a credible source. Prince Harry's directives provoke ire in King Charles and William. A source indicates that Prince William and Charles would recall Meghan's criticisms of the royal family. Amid escalating financial difficulties for Prince Harry and his spouse, coupled with the contentious residency card matter that has once again unsettled the royal family, they want to return to the UK. Increased pessimism toward reconciliation. A perilous diplomatic reconciliation among royals. Recent speculation over encounters between King Charles III and his younger son, Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, has rekindled public and media discourse concerning the British royal family's strained relationships. The Daily Mirror said that the Duke will speak to the public in September upon his return to the UK. Royal observers have interpreted the work variably because of its provenance language and contentious familial background. Some see it as a constructive move towards private reconciliation, whilst others perceive it as a public relations strategy to sway opinions before secret negotiations. Contemporary royal journalism combines candor with foresight, transforming little occurrences into significant geopolitical events inside the Windsor monarchy. The article by Los Angeles-based U.S. editor Christopher Buckton in The Mirror ignited the controversy. Officials at Buckingham Palace conducted an informal peace summit to alleviate tensions between the monarch and his son, according to the magazine. A correspondent from Los Angeles stated, "For the first time in an extended period, there is a sincere belief that reconciliation is attainable." The source further noted Prince Harry's team and the palace have initiated a channel of communication, and there is hope that father and son will reunite when the Duke returns to London in September. The source has been identified. The provenance of a report transcends journalistic obligation. Following their retirement in 2020, the Sussexes relocated to California, establishing a duality in the media ecosystem. British tabloids and broadsheets function as cultural and political institutions, whilst American media outlets and commentators interpret royal matters via the prism of celebrity and media economics. Data from Los Angeles may identify target customers and objectives for a certain campaign. The item from the Sussex camp may have impacted American, global, and British viewpoints. If the royals informed the U.S. journalist, they may have intended to establish expectations for a challenging encounter. The origin of readers influences the understanding of news and extends the cycle of royal reporting via interpretation and counter-interpretation. Provenance influences strategies as well as internal and international variations. Leaks and selective disclosures may obscure accountability and influence decision-makers in contemporary public affairs. A genuine individual effort to establish a connection is often conflated with a calculated media strategy to manipulate a narrative. Royal institutions prioritize prudence and tradition, hence public discourse to address private matters is atypical. Audiences inherently inquire about who benefits from the narrative and how its dissemination influences actor negotiations. Following a prolonged estrangement during which the two men had not convened since a fleeting encounter in February 2024 after the king's cancer diagnosis, the report indicated that the time is right to take that step. This expression encapsulates both sentiment and strategy. It acknowledges the intrinsic human yearning for reconnection in the face of illness and the imperatives of public life and institutional responsibilities. The language communicates a humanitarian objective with procedural specifics appealing to both emotional and strategic audiences. Prudent language is essential for pragmatic purposes. Royal contacts are regulated by official and informal processes, including attendance documentation and event reporting. A straightforward face-to-face dialogue may establish expectations, precedents, or legal and constitutional inquiries on public duties, patronage, or institutions. Consequently, the king must reconcile familial sentiments with the institutional consequences of a private interaction that might have public repercussions if disclosed. The Mirror characterized the session as an intimate personal meeting, rather than a formal discourse about current familial issues. An insider said, "This does not relate to grand gestures or formal meetings. The excerpt depicts a chat between a father and son." A contentious assertion posits, "The priority is privacy and dignity, while simultaneously keeping the avenue for future dialogue accessible." This statement endeavors to reconcile two opposing objectives: private personal engagement and strategic communication. In prominent public life, a balance must be struck between privacy and the political rationale for future prospects. When renowned persons pursue isolation and manipulate time and story, they engage with the media, other organizations, and the public in unfavorable ways. In royal circles, symbolism and consensus are crucial for moral authority. Hence, language that diminishes focus may be advantageous. The desire for privacy and dignity, as seen by the spectator and influenced by the backgrounds of the involved people, may be genuine, disingenuous, or a combination of both. The narrative juxtaposed the potential reunion between the king and his son with the apparently irreconcilable discord between Princes Harry and William. Any reconciliation between the brothers has been categorically dismissed, reinforcing the prevalent notion that William and Harry's relationship is irreversibly fractured. Ongoing discussions on alternative platforms and critiques indicate that although the father-son relationship may allow for private discourse, public disclosures and perceived treachery have irrevocably severed the sibling bond. Reconciliations between fathers and sons, as well as between brothers, reveal the family's emotional disparities. Parental duties and the pursuit of solace drive parent-child relations to be more indulgent and prompt in response to illness or mortality. Sibling connections emphasize fairness, reliability, and heritage. Grievances may intensify when a shared history is reinterpreted and contested, making informal reconciliation difficult. The Mirror's distinction revealed the factual correctness of both perspectives and a profound comprehension of the many expressions of familial reconciliation. A significant concern about the Mirror's report is the public dimension of a potential private deal. Regardless of the leak's origin, royal observers believe that the mention of a meeting exerts pressure on the Queen. The rationale is evident. Should the meeting proceed, the palace might encounter heightened media scrutiny and potential leaks of confidential information. Conversely, if the king declines, he may seem inflexible or severe. Following the announcement of a potential private reunion, the king must evaluate the family institutional and reputational ramifications of engaging with his son. This makes the king uneasy due to his many obligations. The king must consider his own inclination towards a humanitarian choice about illness with the perspectives of his immediate family, particularly the Queen and the Prince of Wales, as well as the political and cultural ramifications. The British populace, subjected to royal narratives across many media platforms, with distinct editorial biases, will assess each action through the lenses of generational conflict, the monarchy's significance, and the dichotomy of tradition versus modernity. Royal aides use meticulously controlled communication strategies, since the monarch's every move is subject to scrutiny. Nevertheless, leaks undermine this oversight. Critics of the disclosure assert that this public approach infringes upon privacy and dignity. Had the intention been a private family dialogue, arrangements would have been conducted without media involvement. Disseminating meeting outcomes seems to be a strategic approach to influence public discourse rather than an invitation for openness. This strategy purportedly protects Prince Harry, who has expressed a desire for reconciliation while shaping any palace response to sway public perception. This tension is one aspect of the Sussexes' media conflict. Prince Harry has often condemned the British tabloid press and litigated against several media organizations alleging intrusive journalism and targeted briefings against him and his wife as reasons for his abdication of royal duties. Commentators have observed the irony that the Duke and his representatives use the same media landscape to convey messages and shape public opinion. When direct contact with his father and brother proves challenging, the media may provide reassurance to the royal family and the public that reconciliation is feasible or that the Sussex faction anticipates vindication. The circumstances of the Sussexes are typical. When institutions are negligent or biased, many public figures who resist media proliferation employ media as a means of communication. This case is characterized by institutional symbolism and personal animosity. The Sussexes transform personal issues into public narratives, so testing and exploiting the monarchy's resilience, which relies on decency and discretion. Commentators speculate if the palace employs institutional discretion, while the Sussexes use a marketable narrative, or whether both engage in mutual media strategies. The king's cancer diagnosis earlier this year exacerbates the situation. The monarch's welfare is particularly significant to the British populace owing to his role and symbolism. Following the February diagnosis, the Duke traveled from California to see his son at Clarence House. Some considered it a favorable sign that even short interactions during illness might enhance familial bonds. Prince Harry's presence on Good Morning America exacerbated the situation. The Duke addressed his father's health and family during an interview for the Invictus Games. He said, "I value my family." He asserted that the king's health may have a reunifying effect on the family. Notwithstanding the favorable remarks, the palace seemed to regard the king's private health disclosure on a major U.S. television show as a breach of trust. Consequently, the interview is often emphasized as a practice that has heightened caution and skepticism in future interactions. The mass media distribution of sensitive personal information contravenes communication norms. Prince Harry may use television appearances to address familial matters within an American celebrity culture that prioritizes transparency and personal storytelling. Palace officials who favor meticulously controlled disclosures and the avoidance of personal confessions that may jeopardize institutional neutrality see such discussions as breaches of familial confidentiality. The disparity between both techniques exacerbates mistrust and obstructs private diplomacy as each party fears public revelations of confidential negotiations. The king purportedly takes into account the perspectives of Queen Camilla and Prince William. The queen who attended the February session at Clarence House is very protective of her husband, particularly during his treatment, so any suggestion that a sensitive family matter has been publicly discussed might heighten tensions. Prince Harry's book Spare criticized his stepmother, damaging their relationship and making reconciliation improbable. Queen Camilla's defensiveness is characteristic of families during medical crises. They strive to manage narratives about the sufferer. Camilla and others are concerned that public revelations or grievances may disrupt the king's recovery. Advisors may emphasize minimizing public exposure above emotional responses that might attract media scrutiny. The Queen's viewpoint obstructs reconciliation. The brothers' estrangement signifies familial disintegration. The Mirror's candid acknowledgement that a reunion between Prince William and Prince Harry is out of hand follows several reports indicating that their relationship has reached a critical juncture. This difference is caused by intricate and cumulative processes. Examples include the Sussexes' 2021 encounter with Oprah Winfrey, the 2022 Netflix docu-series Harry and Meghan, and the candid revelations in Spare. In his public engagements and writings, Prince Harry levied several allegations about implicit racism rivalries and palace aides, which some royals saw as detrimental both institutionally and personally. The public disclosure of these matters is said to breach Prince William's trust, making swift reconciliation unattainable without genuine atonement and a commitment to eschew previous behaviors. Disclosures transform private disagreements into public assets. When disseminated via popular media, opinions and recollections transform into historical narratives used for political critique, satire, or financial gain. Revelations harm royal family members who prioritize institutional stability and public privacy. Reparations should include concrete commitments to future conduct and the careful management of sensitive material rather than only private apologies. This diminishes the probability of enduring reconciliation from mere contacts. Critics of the narrative depicting Harry's desire for reconciliation and William's refusal highlight a significant omission. These narratives often overlook the Prince of Wales's grievances and the justifications provided by his colleagues for their absence. William's reluctance is protective rather than insubordinate. William, the prospective heir, father, and husband, must exercise caution with his brother to safeguard his family's privacy and the institution he is destined to lead. Public disclosures and the media dynamics that exploit them represent a significant trust barrier that cannot be addressed via a brief private conversation without confidence-building initiatives. William's stance transitions the discourse from obstinacy to danger. He feared that hasty or poorly managed interactions may exacerbate wounds, generate misunderstandings, and result in more disclosures. He exercises caution since he is obligated to protect public institutions and his family, especially young children who are subject to more scrutiny. Proponents of William assert that reconciliation requires regulated dialogue constraints and third-party facilitation to avert public detriment. Prince Harry's public appearances have coincided awkwardly with notable royal occasions leading to allegations of stunts. For instance, a trip to Asia was announced close to King Charles and Queen Camilla's wedding anniversary, and photographs of Prince Harry in Angola at a demining charity event further diminished the trust that he comprehends these anniversaries as a former senior royal. Proponents of Duke contend that these occurrences are just coincidences resulting from varying calendar obligations, asserting that a global timetable and professional commitments necessitate symbolic happenings. The skepticism about the Sussexes' public conduct is evident in the ambiguity around the event's intent, whether it is a mere scheduling error or a calculated provocation. A media ecosystem that examines every action for meaning complicates the evaluation of purpose. Both sides may possess temporal constraints, prior commitments, or conflicting agendas. Nevertheless, the audience's propensity to swiftly seek meaning illustrates the fragility of beneficent assumptions. When trust wanes, previous grievances are used to assess coincidence. The significance of royal symbolism and the financial potential of controversy drive this interpretive reflex, which extends beyond royal matters. Omid Scobie's 2023 book Endgame continues to excite discussion. A Dutch book translation indicates that King Charles and Catherine, Princess of Wales, were the senior royals who expressed concerns about Archie's skin hue. Prince Harry's reticence over the matter has exacerbated his relationship with his father. The accusation and its silence prompt significant inquiries about race and the perspectives of high-ranking officials embodying the discontent of both parties. Race provokes more intense disputes. Accusations pertaining to race influence public discourse on institutional bias, national identity, and post-imperial Britain. The assertion provokes displeasure in the absence of a clear explanation or counter-argument. Silence may signify concealment evasion or an unwarranted assault on reputations. It reveals significant ethical deficiencies eroding confidence. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex's commercial pursuits in the United States illustrate their ability to navigate and capitalize on their public character despite personal and reputational challenges. The second season of Meghan Markle's Netflix series, With Love, Meghan, which focuses on cooking, entertaining, and gardening, premiered amidst reunion suspicions. The second season garnered less attention than the couple's prior endeavors as per watching experts and web metrics. Netflix ranked it 85th in the United States, and it did not appear on charts in significant markets. Industry observers said that the couple's novelty and appeal had diminished compared to the initial reception of the 2022 docuseries Harry and Meghan. Commercial lenses influence incentives. Media endeavors provide their primary source of income and narrative driving force as content creators and public figures. Impaired visibility may impact prospective collaborations, financial matters, and familial communication within the relationship. Many, however, see the couple's endeavors as opportunistic and the business landscape as capitalizing on personal disclosures. Comprehending these objectives elucidates the seemingly contradictory actions of the palace, and the Sussexes' institutional authorities want to mitigate reputational harm, whilst entrepreneurial public figures pursue financial gain and cultural significance. The presentation was critiqued by reviewers. The Hollywood Reporter described the second season as equally bland as the first, suggesting it did not rectify prior critiques. Following the viewing of all 8 episodes, Lady Colin Campbell described the Duchess as pathetically desperate and enumerated her pretensions to seem genuine. Campbell said that the audience numbers were insufficient for a second season. Critics assert that adverse publicity maintains the duo's prominence, therefore benefiting celebrity enterprises. The Sussexes' varied critiques reflect public sentiment, admiration, and intrigue for their popularity, skepticism about their intentions, and significant concern for the monarchy's future. Netflix and its platform partners evaluate viewership, discourse, subscriptions, and branding objectives when determining collaboration. Critical scrutiny may tarnish a project's reputation. However, it may not adversely affect its economic viability. The event and the Sussexes' previous public appearances had fatigued Buckingham Palace personnel. A palace insider informed royal writer Rob Shooter that some officials are expressing exasperation at the pair's apparent readiness to convert intimate moments into media material, deeming it bizarre that a couple who has always sought solitude is suddenly producing public-facing television stuff. A source said that Meghan's narratives of her life with Harry are understated portrayals of the royal realm he departed, highlighting what the Duke forfeited. Courtiers are concerned about the Sussexes' conduct, which is at odds with their principles. In contrast to the palace's prudent public relations approach, the Sussexes' media initiatives prioritize openness, storytelling, and audience engagement. The Sussexes may see an encroachment on personal dignity as a kind of self-expression and a professional transition. The debate pertains to the management paradigms of public roles in an age of ubiquitous media rather than fundamental issues. Not all analysts deemed the advertisement a failure. The Shooter said that a Los Angeles source indicated the campaign successfully achieved its branding objective of maintaining the couple's visibility in the public sphere. They remain a subject of discourse, said the insider. Meghan has maintained their romantic narrative throughout their brand. This notion redefines success by cultural significance rather than audience size, adopting a narrative-preserving approach to celebrity management. Even unfavorable attention may be exploited across media and genres, indicating a celebrity economic shift. A project without blockbuster ratings on one platform might get podcasts, book deals, speaking engagements, brand collaborations, and licensing. Maintaining relevancy may be more crucial than audience size. Thus, evaluating the Duchess's media strategy over time and via several outputs may be more useful than in a single season. Alternative media measures showed the Sussexes' cultural collapse. People magazine, a major U.S. publication that supports Harry and Meghan, featured Prince George, Prince William, and Catherine's oldest kid the week of With Love, Meghan's release. The editing move may indicate that American focus is shifting from the California marriage to other royals. Public interest and media coverage vary. However, symbolic gestures like outlet covers lose meaning. Depending on media coverage, these developments may affect the Sussexes. Strategic changes may include emphasizing more controversial or personal content or consolidating around smaller, more sustainable firms with less control. Meghan promoted the show on Netflix's first day in a Bloomberg interview. Only 3 minutes of the 43-minute talk included "With Love, Meghan." Her business goals and other enterprises dominated the conversation. Online observers said Bloomberg interviewer Emily Chang's laughing was out of sync with her facial expression in reaction to Meghan's comments. Online investigators hypothesized without proof that the Duchess's laughter was altered post-production to increase her appeal or humorous impact. The broadcast showed public and social media distrust of the Sussexes' media presence. Instead, than merely watching, viewers now frame by frame check for changes. Audience forensics is growing in viral media when snippets are shared and recontextualized across platforms. Conspiracy theorists often ignored little abnormalities, but today they boost credibility. This strategy requires strict control and openness for high-profile persons like Meghan, increasing attention in the case of missteps. Increased exposure increases the amount of information available for analysis, magnifying scrutiny, and demanding filtered and carefully edited material, which creates mistrust. The pair has been criticized for broadcasting and streaming on social media, especially about their children. Meghan's Netflix series launched with a promotional video showing Princess Lilibet in pajamas lovingly interacting with Guy the family dog's framed portrait. The timing suggested the pair exploited the youngsters, critics argued. Media sources called a behavioral analyst a narcissism expert, who said the video showed a youngster being manipulated and employed as a prop by a narcissistic parent. This striking description captures the ongoing debate over parental exposure, kid privacy, and the ethics of advertising with children. Parental liberty, child safety, and public interest are involved in this PR issue. The Sussexes have emphasized their right to privacy in court issues and public pronouncements, making private times with their children uncomfortable. An apparently benign video, which may be a personal expression rather than a business measure, illustrates parental sovereignty. Commercial timing and celebrity engagement turn private occasions into commodities, say critics. The ethical debate is about celebrities' disclosure of family photos, not the video substance. Archie and Lilibet. Sussex's seclusion is delicate yet strong. The Duchess and Duke have taken legal and practical steps to shield their children from public observation. Sometimes they purposefully change photographs and videos during commercial encounters, drawing criticism. In widely disseminated photos, disrespectful youngsters may draw comments. Residents of Montecito stated youngsters seldom attend parks or engage in community activities. Critics say these selections continue the family's obfuscation and are clickbait to attract media attention. Famous people employ selective exposure to protect their privacy and capitalize on their fame. Each shot is interpreted, and the audience wants to know celebrities' private lives. The Sussex children's condition illustrates celebrities' struggles to balance family and money in a media career. Any true interaction is complicated by the Mirror's father-son assertion, the Sussexes' vast history of public exposures and private disillusionments, their economic ventures in America, and their strict advertising monitoring. A touching covert meeting between King Charles and Prince Harry. Two close relatives wish to talk during a serious illness. Serious sickness forces people to reconsider relationships and seek forgiveness. The need for privacy and dignity suggests reconciliation. However, the report's public availability and history of mutual antagonism and purposeful disclosures raise doubt. Conflicting narratives would emerge from media-revealed discussions. Prince Harry may be perceived as offering an olive branch, signaling his readiness to reconcile, while the palace may be seen as responding reluctantly, affected by media scrutiny and forced to manage contacts. Individual feelings, institutional duties, and reputational damage are assessed by all individuals, complicating reality. Prince William still hinders family unity. A father-son talk may be meaningful, but it is unlikely to immediately resolve the brothers' public worries, which are embedded in a series of disclosures and counter-narratives that need time, work, and reciprocal concessions. Harry and Meghan's U.S. economic and professional pursuits hide their goals according to Netflix ratings, critical reviews, and media involvement. While some regard these initiatives as a way to retain cultural value and profit on personal narratives, post-royal others see them as a source of revenue and public involvement. Meeting in September is unknown. Public discourse should include all aspects. This encounter will be examined for its emotional, symbolic, and strategic effects on the monarchy, the Sussexes, and digital privacy versus publicity. Without a meeting, the narrative will quickly diverge. Some will blame the palace for its obstinacy, while others will blame the Sussexes for their failed PR plan. The story shows how family and institution interact. Current conditions are dangerous and volatile. Modern media ecosystems, celebrity management, and family relationships are explored in the play. How should a constitutional family balance private and public? How do strategic disclosures affect results? How can companies and consumers maintain confidence after privacy breaches? A constructive private talk, a well-planned public appearance, or a lack of communication will affect Prince Harry's relationship with his birth family and his life abroad. This episode shows how contemporary royals, like other public personalities, balance private and public duties. Reconciliation needs emotional participation and careful modification. Clear public consumption constraints, reciprocal commitments to avoid future exposures, and the knowledge that trust is rebuilt by constant visible alteration, not symbolic gestures. The feasibility of private diplomacy in a competitive media environment, institutional safeguards to enable humane family reparations, and the coexistence of a transatlantic identity partially shaped by celebrity and the constitutional responsibilities of a family are likely to be assessed in the coming months. The story has lessons beyond the British royal family. Members with large private lives struggle in public groups. Disseminating and benefiting from private difficulties complicates reputation management, ethical strategic disclosure, and family reconciliation. Each private comment becomes more important when made public, emphasizing reconciliation procedures. The event shouldn't hide human traits. A parent-child conversation during sickness shows care. Modern royal strategy, media analysis, and institutional knowledge contradict human experience. The resolution or negotiation of opposing imperatives will show how people and an ancient institution may adapt to a contemporary networked public sphere. The Mirror article sparked conflict. It raised questions about impartiality technique and importance, and revived debate on family reconciliation's pros and cons. The king and his son's seeming reunion may represent the start of a hesitant personal repair of trust, or another manufactured reconciliation. The urge to reconnect may be seen with institutional barriers that have made such connections difficult. The story encourages reconciliation but warns against personal healing motivated by fame and public life. Thank you for watching the video. Please let us know your thoughts and goodbye for now.